On this episode of Local Film Talk, Conrad and I show you the magic that makes this and all our other projects go. To be the first to get this and all our other episodes of Local Film Talk, subscribe to the Local Film Talk YouTube channel. And if you don't have time to watch, you can always subscribe to the Local Film Talk podcast on iTunes. Now let's get started, folks. We're starting the broadcast, so don't say any swear words. We're live on the air.
All right.
Got to keep it airwaves appropriate.
Don't want that explicit tag.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes with the explicit tag, because it's just about, is there any inappropriate content? And you got to kind of ask yourself where the line is and, who gets to draw that. It's like if I say damn and hell a couple times, surely that's not inappropriate content. Are we going with MPAA rules? Like you get to say fuck one time and you can say shit a couple times?
Well, you already ruined it for me, so now I got to stay silent the rest of the episode.
There you go. You have nothing to say. If you can't swear, you're out.
Is it like inappropriate if I'm sitting here with like no pants on? I mean, would that give us the explicit tag?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm certainly wearing my lounging pants. I think there's a term for podcasts like this, where it's like because it's a podcast and there's not a camera, or if there is a camera, it's like from chest up, and people can't see the bottom half. It's called like a pantsless show or something. I don't know, but I do believe there is an actual term for it. So, but yeah, anyways, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. You folks may realize that this is not a normal episode. We're just kind of vamping here. We do not have a guest this week. We usually talk to different people in the community about the projects they're working on, and we just kind of ran into a situation. We didn't have anybody lined up this week, and we said, should we just take a week off? And we realized, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a lot of things going on. Obviously, there are different events that other people are working on that we'll mention and help promote, because that's always part of our mission here. But we've also got stuff coming up, and we were going to chat anyways, do some planning and brainstorming and everything. So we thought we'd just go ahead and hit record and let you guys see how the sausage is made for Local Film Talk, for Triangle Film Community, for Film Spark, for just all these different projects, how we come to these weird decisions that we do. So
Local Film Talk, the sausage party episode.
The sausage party that is Local Film Talk. Man, we've been doing a lot of documentaries lately. Have you noticed that?
Well, there's a lot of people here making docs, man. We got a lot of documentarians. Apparently, like all the Chapel Hill people, documentary.
Lots of documentaries. I think 4 of our last 5 episodes have been documentaries.
Well, let's see. Since I've been on, we did Wilmington on Fire.
Wilmington on Fire.
Unverified. Of course, that was last week.
I can look up the YouTube channel. I can figure this out for sure.
Last Barn Dance.
You weren't here when I did Running Vision.
No, I was out of the picture on that one.
But that was about a month and a half ago. Let me see if I can move this over here. Look at the YouTube channel. This is fun, folks, when you get to watch Bob look up stuff on the YouTube channel that he should know by heart.
Hashtag no filter.
Unverified. The Ferguson report from occupied territory.
Right, the fusion document.
Right.
I almost said Vice, and then I realized, nope, it's not Vice, it's fusion.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of documentaries lately.
Well, man, documentaries are pretty powerful. I think we're kind of like having a nice resurgence in documentary.
Right.
Which is really cool.
And it's we did a lot of time talking about people's short films, and it's it's good to branch out into different types of films and get learn how people are doing different things. I just thought it was weird that, because we didn't plan that. It's not like we said March and April are going to be documentary months. We're just going to go on this spree. It's just that's the way stuff lined up. I thought it was weird.
Man, I might be talking out of my ass here, but maybe this like big resurgence in documentary has something to do with the fact that the majority of what's coming out of Hollywood these days are just real, like, super gigantic budget, like, special effects spectacles, you know? So the only real antithesis to it is nonfiction film.
That is true.
You know?
That
I
is
mean,
true.
what's a more interesting story than like a bizarre slice of real life? You know?
Absolutely.
Like, hey man, I could see this documentary about this insane coup d'état that got pulled off, like, over 100 years ago, or I could see a Skrull invasion. I think I might go coup d'état.
There you go. There you go. It's entertaining and educational. So, well, listen, I'm going to tweet this stuff out. Why don't you go ahead and start telling the folks about some of the things that are coming up on the schedule while I spread the word that we're sitting here vamping.
Okay, while Bob is practicing his social media kung fu, um, see, May 7th, this coming weekend, our buddies, the Smith brothers over at Unexposed Micro Cinema, are doing the Unex Fest. I hope I pronounced that right. 15 bucks. It's from like noon to midnight. They're doing a few screenings. I think there's going to be like food from the pit over there. Um, they're going to have just a lot of stuff going on. And in the evening, they're going to do more where films are being backed by local bands. It's going to be really cool.
I've always wanted to see that the bands with the films playing in the
We're,
background. It never works
yeah,
into my schedule, but I want to go see that.
yeah. And what's interesting about that is, they say that they're basically curating the videos over the music instead of having the music be improvised over the video. So that should be a whole lot of fun. And the Smith brothers are just freaking wonderful. So they got a lot of stuff planned for that day. And their website is unexposedmicrocinema.com. That has a lot of information about UnexFest. What else? May 13th through the 14th, Longleaf Film Festival is happening. They got a lot of stuff going on. There are 2 panels planned. One is on acting for directors. The other one is on distribution.
This is at the History Museum, right?
At the History Museum,
Okay.
correct. And they are branching it out to 3 screens this year. There's a lot of films on the docket. A lot of films by people that we actually have spoken to pretty recently. Sybil is playing. See if I can try to remember everything else. Son of Clowns is playing. Unverified is playing. I'm trying to remember. I looked at the schedule earlier today. There's just so many films, man.
Yeah. They have 3 screens there?
2 or smaller, like.
Oh, okay. Like they're going to set up screens and some chairs?
Yeah, they got a couple of rooms aside from their main theater that they're doing stuff in. But it's free. It's Friday and Saturday. That's going to be pretty awesome. And the schedule is on their website.
We'll put that one in the show notes. I always say I'm going to put stuff in the show notes, and I never make notes to remind myself. I got to go rewatch the episode and see what I missed. I'm actually going to take notes today, people.
Oh, man. See, normally Bob just tweets and drinks some beer.
I didn't bring any beer this time. In fact, I'm even low on water. I might have to have you vamp while I actually leave the freaking room at some point.
Oh, man. Okay, so moving on from Longleaf Film Festival, as Bob is taking notes here. May 19th, of course, is our screening for Triangle Film Community. We're going to be showing Chris Moore's Knob Goblins. Mm-hmm. Oh, Knob Goblins, also playing at the Longleaf.
There you go.
There we go. And we're going to be showing Rob Underhill's Fever Dreams. It's now been assembled together into feature form instead of just pieces that have been screening around. So that's pretty exciting.
That'd be cool. Directed by Rob Underhill and written by our buddy Al Julian.
Al Julian the third, because third time's a charm.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be?
And they're going to do a pretty sweet Q&A afterwards. A lot of the people who are in it, a lot of people who worked on it are going to be there. And man, where was I going with this? I knew what I was going to say. Oh yeah, a lot
Just
of the,
go there, people. Just show up. I
just
mean, come
show up.
on, support local film. Tell your friends who are not in the filmmaking community, tell them they have to come out and see this stuff because there's cool shit getting made in this area.
Tickets are free, but you're going to need to RSVP them at thecarytheater.com because they are going. We
Okay,
want
I'll have to
want
include
to make
that.
sure people can actually have a place to sit when they get there. But even cooler is a lot of my hosting duties are going to be minimized a bit for a change. I get to actually sit back and relax some because
Nice.
the star of the film, Jeff Briggs, is going to be hosting, and Jeff is an awesome dude, man. I can't wait to see him like handle the crowd.
That should be fun. I don't think I've ever seen him MC before.
I've never seen him MC, but man, like worked with him on the set once. Wonderful guy, um, and the dude is just a really great character actor, man. So,
Nice.
um, actually, I take it back. I worked with him on two sets because he was in the session, and uh,
That's true. He was in the session.
which was in film
Another
noir.
great movie written by Al Julian.
Yes. So that's going to be awesome.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. What else do we
Uh,
got coming up?
well, let's see. Want to get into this? The Cary Theater is starting up something called Rough Cuts Review. Their very
Okay,
first
this is
one.
something I know nothing about. I'll have
Okay.
to let you take the lead on this one.
Okay, man. I'm actually. This is the most talking I've done in an episode.
There you
I
go.
mean,
I gotta let you get caught up.
I'm usually just kind of like staring at the wall or something. No, the Cary Theater has been talking about this for a while. They got it put together now, and what they're going to do is every other month they're going to open the theater up to filmmakers who want to screen a work in progress for feedback.
Oh, that's a cool idea. I like that.
That's a great idea because it's not only are you getting feedback from people who have not seen your film before or who necessarily have a tie to you, so it could be more honest feedback. But a lot of times when you're working on a work in progress, you don't get to see it on a big screen, and you'll find that your movie looks and plays a lot differently on a big screen than it does on the tiny 3-inch window on your monitor in Premiere.
Right,
You
right.
know, I mean, when I cut, I use a double monitor so I can at least get um, a much larger view of the playback. But even then, it doesn't compare to like a 20-foot screen.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, I got a two monitor setup going on here, which
Mhm.
you actually gave me the second monitor a couple months ago, so I've been using it for that, and it's been fantastic as opposed to running Premiere all on one screen. Like you said, you can put that preview window all on its own screen and plays much better. Second monitors, not just for double the porn, folks. It can also be used for productivity.
Yes. Yes. So, uh, I don't have like a website to give. There's a little bit of information I think on the Cary Theater's website, but they're working to get it more set up. It's going to be, it's something that they're going to get better at as they go along. There's still a few questions in the air about how things will run, but um, it is being moderated by somebody. Uh,
Some mysterious body.
I have to get my notes, man. So yeah, like Rough Cuts Review, right there.
Oh, okay.
And they are you can deliver a HD file for them to play back, or you can bring it in on the DVD or Blu-ray. The Cary Theater can play pretty much everything. They are the physical manifestation of VLC.
No,
Uh,
is it all does it have to be like a narrative film, or does it have to be a creative thing, or like if you were doing like client work or a commercial or a music video or something, can you do that?
I think music videos would be cool. They're a little on the fence about kind of commercial work, and
Kind of hard to put together a whole event just so show a 30-second commercial and then, all right, people, let's talk about that for an hour and a half.
right. But it's being moderated by a guy named Joe Parton. He is an
Okay.
English teacher over at Guilford Tech, who also teaches a film class.
Okay.
So everything's being moderated. It's going to be like, first come, first serve as far as film submissions go. Um,
Okay.
it's going to be a couple of hours. I think they're aiming for uh, like 10 minutes, but there's been talk about extending that time because
Yeah.
not every short film is 10 minutes or less.
I think I remember Andrew Huggins saying that the ideal length for a short film is something like 8 to 12 minutes,
Hmm.
something in that range. So yeah, that makes about sense.
I've always
10 minutes or
told
so.
15 or less,
Right.
but yeah, I will post more information on the Facebook for Triangle Film Community. But
Okay.
this is really cool, man. When I heard about this, I posted like what I asked what people thought about it on the group. Got a lot of response. I think this is definitely something the film community would love to
Hmm.
have, and it's really cool that the Cary is making it happen.
Very awesome. Very awesome. I'm glad to hear that's happening. We'll have to keep everybody posted on that.
Definitely.
Oh. So is that
Uh,
it for your list of upcoming stuff?
well, I didn't want to step on your toes with West End, man.
Okay, because the only other thing you got is Film Spark, right?
Well, there's always Film Spark.
Oh, there's always Film Spark. Film Spark is always on our minds. But before we get to that, I wanted to go ahead and announce something that was just made public about an hour ago. Um, Eric Pruitt and I have been working on putting together a screening series at the West End Wine Bar over on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill, and he just went and made it public a couple hours ago. It's going to start on June 1st, and I'm just going to kind of talk out of my butt here about what we discussed. We'll have to whittle down the details and finalize everything, but the basic
Just so
idea.
you know, everything that you say is now set in stone. So if Eric disagrees, he's got to go along with everything that you say. So if everyone gets like free kittens,
There we go.
yeah,
In fact, Eric, you better be watching right now because I hope you're a loyal viewer of the show. And if I say something that's not correct or that we haven't agreed on, I expect you to text me and correct me. And anything I say that doesn't get corrected, we're just going to have to make work. That is the world we live in now. It is internet official. So, but I believe the general idea we were looking for was every Wednesday this summer, June, July, August, is going to be about 12 to 14 screenings. And we wanted to put together like a 1 hour block of films. So the idea is the event will go from like 7 until 9, something like that, maybe 8 to 10. Again, I don't know. We have to finalize this stuff. But the idea is, we get up there. Maybe we have something rolling in the background, like, people can send us some trailers or some music videos or something we can have playing on the screen while people are getting settled. There'll be some drink specials, possibly maybe some giveaways. I don't know. That's very tentative. We just kind of spitballed a couple ideas. But the idea is we'll have a 1 hour block of short films that everybody can watch. And then afterwards, if some of the filmmakers are going to try to make them local, if we run out of ones, Eric kind of wanted to have themes going for each screening. So maybe if we're coming up a little short on films, we might reach out to people outside of the local area and everything. So at the moment, it's kind of open to everybody. Anybody can submit a film. But the idea is that we'll have an hour-long block of films, and from there, afterwards, any of the filmmakers who are there can come up and the audience can do a Q&A with them, ask them any questions they might have. And then afterwards, just a little bit of socializing. So, anybody who has a film who they would like to submit to potentially be screened at the West End Summer Film Series, just go to a ridiculously long link, which I have to look up. It is something crazy. It will be in the show notes. I will definitely make sure of that. Let me look it up on my phone.
time to break out those Bitly links, man.
Because it's a Wix page, So it is westendsummerfilms.wix.com. And like I said, good idea. I'll do a Bitly thing. I'll go ahead and put it in the show notes. But if you go there and you'll, I'm sure we'll put it on Triangle Film Community on the Facebook page and everything, make an announcement. But if you go to that page, there's an email address. Hell, you don't even have to go to the page. The email address is, it's the name of the series, the West End Summer Film Series at gmail.com. And if you email a link to your film to that email address, that's how you submit. That's all you need to do, and we'll check it out. We'll see if we can figure out a way to work it in and get you in the screening. So that is pretty much the gist of it. Thank you to Eric Pruitt for being the mastermind behind this idea and letting me help him work on it. But I think it's going to be super awesome. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the general public to become acclimated with the indie film community. So it's not just going to be showing your films to other filmmakers and your friends in the area. Hopefully we're going to get some regular members of the public in there going, holy shit, there's some cool stuff going on here. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Dude, that is awesome. The more opportunities we have to screen things to real audiences, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, thanks to Eric, because this is something Eric is very conscious about. He's always trying to figure out ways to branch out into the community and get them to watch films. He's the one who started the Noir at the Bar readings in Durham, trying to get the public more interested in crime fiction and everything. So he is really great at setting up these readings and screenings and these public events. And this is just another one in a long line of hopefully very successful events. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
Dude, Eric, you rock, man.
Yes, absolutely. So that is most of the upcoming events, leading us up to, of course, Film Spark. The ever-present Film Spark. Go ahead and tell people about the deadline. Early registration has passed.
That's right. That's right. If you haven't given us your film by now, you can't get it in for cheap. You gotta get it in.
Still pretty cheap.
Yeah, still pretty cheap. $15. I mean, that's no like whatever.
Right.
Austin, $60.
I haven't submitted to a lot of film festivals. Does anybody out there know what the average price for submitting to a film festival is?
I was going over a lot of film festivals on Film Freeway just recently, and there's a lot that are pretty cheap, like $10 to $20, and there's a lot that are a lot higher, like between 60 and 80.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends. And I can't even tell you why one festival charges what they do versus another. It's not like some of the ones I saw that were $80 were, the Tribeca's or the Tellurides or anything. It was, it's just like, hey, this is the, I don't know. I can't think of a crappy, like.
It's more expensive, so it must be more exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some of the more expensive ones are the ones where they'll like fly the filmmakers out and that kind of crap. I don't know. We're not flying anybody out.
Fly out on like Sky Blue.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, early registration is closed. That ended at the end of April. That's when you could get in for $10.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry guys, you missed that. Now submission to Film Spark is going to cost you a whopping $15. You poor broke bastards. But I will go ahead and tell you, I mean, come on, $15 isn't that bad. But regular registration goes through when? End of June?
The end of June. About July 1st, I think it goes up till late deadline, which bumps it to $20.
$20. Oh man, you got to get in before $20. That's like
2 burritos at Chipotle.
Yeah, really. I mean, wouldn't you rather have Chipotle burritos? I mean, I know you guys are passionate about film and you want your film to get screened on as many screens as possible, but you can save most of the price of a Chipotle burrito.
Actually, man.
Christopher Moore, I know you love your Taco Bell. That's $5. That's like 2 Taco Bell meals, man. You got to get in now.
Well, $5 is like 5 tacos, right?
Yeah. $5 is a beer, man. You go to a brewery here in the area, or a bar or whatever. Most places a beer is $5. So get into Film Spark now, and then go down the street and buy yourself a beer.
I was about to say, just get lit one last night. Just big film spark.
There you go. I mean, we're not in it for the money or anything, obviously. So it's not like we, no, wait, man, and pay the $20 or anything. In fact, one of the reasons we want you to get in earlier is because we got to watch all these things and decide what's actually going to get into the festival. And I really don't want to have to like sit down and watch 3/4 of the films we receive in the last, 3 weeks before the festival, because we still got to program and all that stuff.
And I feel like I should mention this point, since we're talking about like submission fees so much. The money doesn't go directly to us. It stays within Spark, and we use that money to pay for venues, to print like programs and whatnot. So when people come to the screenings, they know what's playing and what's going on.
In fact,
our volunteers for those days, because
right.
they got to eat. SparkCon is a long event, man.
Right. Well, I want to say last year you told me that the bulk of Film Spark's expenses, because we did it super cheap. We had some very generous people, very generous organizations like the North Carolina Museum of History donating their time and their space and all that stuff for us, to the point where the biggest expense we had was there was one night when we ran really late at the Museum of History, and we had to pay the staff that had to stay late, which still only worked out to, what was it, like $200 or something?
Couple $100.
Yeah, it wasn't much at all, but I mean, that's we don't make a lot of money, but that's the kind of stuff it goes towards, directly back to providing the festival experience.
Yeah, so that couple $100 was about a third of what we had.
Right.
So
it all goes into the SparkCon pot.
Yeah. And anything that gets left over rolls to next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
one of these days we're gonna have a rockin' fucking party.
That's right,
But
man.
for now, we're just saving our pennies. But speaking of Film Spark, last year, as we've probably said many times on the show, we didn't get involved until very late. We only had a few months to throw something together, and so Film Spark mostly consisted of one theater doing screenings over the course of 4 days. But this time, we've been in from the beginning. We had the whole year to work on stuff, and we're hoping to get a lot more stuff done. And again, this is our making the sausage episode of Local Film Talk. So
let's just start it out there right now. While we're talking about this, Film Spark and SparkCon is just as much about the creative arts community as it is just a big freaking fun thing to go do and get drunk at. So, any of you guys in the film community watching this, if there's something that you would like to see SparkCon do, or if you have an idea for something Film Spark could do, hit us up.
I guess the best place to do that right now, I mean, you can always email suggestions to localfilmtalk@gmail.com.
Well, we have a Film Spark email.
We do have a Film Spark email. Go ahead and send them there.
filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com.
Nice. filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com. Send your suggestions there. Or, of course, I did post a link to this live chat in the Triangle Film Community Facebook page. So if you're watching live now, you can always go swing by and leave a comment there. In fact, I got a bunch of notifications. I should probably see what these people are saying. Oh, that's racist, man. You shouldn't say that. Anyways, Film Spark. So let's tell the people, and again, just like the West End stuff, none of this is set in stone. We're still in the brainstorming stages, trying to see what's feasible. But let's go ahead and throw out some of the ideas we wanted to do. As great as the Museum of History was last year, it was a little off the beaten path. So let's talk a little bit about what we were thinking venue-wise this year.
Well, there's a lot of venues now in downtown that have screens as well. The Poorhouse now has a screen. London Bridge has a screen. Where else? I'm trying to remember. King's has a screen. There's always Marbles. They got big screens.
That is a very big screen.
It's a giant screen.
Maybe we could start a petition and get people films shown on the Marble screen. That'd be crazy. I bet our 1080p Blu-rays would look like shit on that screen.
Let's do it.
That'd be great. So
But
yeah, a lot of bars and venues and stuff in the area got screens now. So we want to try to hit some of those places. I guess the big thing is we want to try to have more than one thing going on at once.
right, right. Because last year we were really just more like a straight up film festival, and this year we want to do more interactive kind of things that draw people in and give them something more than just a passive experience.
Hmm.
Um,
I know one thing that we had discussed, again, still up in the air, was having one venue where we were just doing workshops. Like there was an idea of finding somebody who could do a workshop on like technology in filmmaking, maybe
mhm.
talking drones, 360 cameras, VR, stuff like that. I don't know about VR. VR is kind of one of those things where you have to like you have to put the helmet on. It's like a one person demo. You can't have
Yeah,
one person put on a VR headset and everybody else in the room goes, whoa, So that might not work as a presentation, but you get the idea.
right.
Um, shit, what were some of the other ideas? I forget. I know that
We were talking
we were
about
talking about.
live streaming some 360 video. As
Yeah, and that's
one of
another
the
thing that
other things.
FilmSpark does. That's that is not FilmSpark. That SparkCon. One thing that's encouraged with SparkCon is getting the different cons to work together.
Hmm.
And so, like with the 360 idea, that was one of the ones I suggested. Was Circus Spark usually has something going on at one of the intersections on Fayetteville Street,
Right.
and if we could get a 360 camera going, especially if we could get it going live, I don't know how we could get the like good enough internet connection or bandwidth out in the middle of the street. Maybe we can figure that out. But if we can set up a 360 camera in the middle of this crazy circular dance with fire breathing and all that crap and everything, and live stream that, that'd be kick ass.
That would be awesome, especially
Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially during fire shows, man.
We were talking about trying to figure out ways to maybe pair up with Music Spark,
Hmm.
to do something with concerts. I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with the set list. I think we were maybe just talking about maybe figuring out some way to broadcast or record concerts in
Right.
tandem with them.
Yeah, and they usually have about 3, 4 stages going on,
Right.
especially
Could
on
do
the
something similar with Comedy Spark, with their
yeah,
stand-up sets and everything.
yeah. Comedy Spark usually has a stand-up hour. I think they do an improv thing, so
Hmm.
that would be pretty cool.
Right. And I
Um,
can't remember, were there any other ideas we were brainstorming? I
we were
mean,
talking
I know
about
there were. We had a whole freaking sheet of them.
doing a crowdsource film, where people can post like get on Instagram, post a video with a hashtag so we can find them, and then on Sunday having put together like a short film of people's different Instagram experiences from
That's a neat
SparkCon.
idea.
That would be pretty cool. Um,
And you
see,
volunteered to stay up all night on Saturday doing that yourself, right?
maybe
Mm-hmm.
Tom Gore we're looking into, man.
Tom Gore, Term Gur. We have a job for you.
Uh,
So
we're
yeah, those are just some of the things we've brainstormed. And of course, if anybody else out there has ideas, if you're hearing stuff we're saying and you either think something's a great idea or a terrible idea, if you have another idea you'd like to suggest, if you're hearing some of these and have ideas for how we could pull it off, we're open to everything. It's all about bringing film to the audience, to the community, finding what gets you guys engaged. So filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com.
that's it.
Filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com. That's 4 times. I think you have to say something seven times to get
Let
any
me
people.
double check it so we're not just saying the wrong thing. But I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
Jesus H fucking goddamn tap dancing Christ.
it's Film Spark. Bob sucks a dick.
Sucks. Oh
Uh,
shit, we're live.
we are live, man.
We are live.
Children are watching.
We are live and keeping it classy. Oh, speaking of live, you didn't happen to check out the awkward conversations with geeky writers last night, did you?
No, I was at a different event last night, but we can talk
Ah,
about that in just a second.
we can. We can. I was our buddy Eric Pruitt as part of a show they do every couple months. It's called Awkward Conversations with Geeky Writers. It's a live Google Hangout, and they that was a blast to watch. You can actually find it on YouTube. One of the authors in the group, Anthony Rapino, announced a Kickstarter he was doing, and so the whole episode they were doing kind of telethon style as people were donating to the Kickstarter, and it was just a riot. Eric was keeping tally of how much money they had raised on the wall. He was pinning up pieces of papers with numbers on it. At one point, he got he got too overwhelmed and just pulled out a can of spray paint and started writing numbers on the wall. And then because he didn't have a window open, he got high on the fumes. It was great television, and you should all go to YouTube and watch it now. And then, of course, go to Kickstarter and donate to Anthony Rapino's Kickstarter project. But always a fun time. That's a quick plug for Awkward Conversations with Geeky Writers.
That's pretty awesome. By the way, yes, it is filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com.
Filmsparkraleigh@gmail.com.
Yeah. So that one about, Film Spark, you performing fellatio, that's not the correct email address.
No, that's not it. Don't go to that one.
Spark Raleigh.
Please don't register that one either.
well, now that's definitely going to happen. Someone's going to do it.
Please don't register that Twitter account.
Well, while you were at the Awkward Conversations last night, I was again at the Cary Theater. We mentioned Cary Theater a lot because they're supportive of local film. I'm just saying, they rock.
Comrade spends a lot of time there.
I sleep there. I was there last night.
Not through the films.
No, not through the films. I found a hidey spot and I just stay there overnight. Rebecca Larkin's newest Doctor Who fan film episode screened there last night, and
which you edited.
Which I edited, and I did an effect on. I animated a firefly. So,
ooh,
yeah.
After Effects.
In After Effects, it has wings, man. Little wings that you barely see.
But damn it, you spent 15 hours on it.
I spent 15 hours on it.
People look at those wings, you freaking appreciate them.
And there's another effect I did in it that isn't even noticeable. It's not supposed to be, so I'm not saying what it is.
Also, spoiler.
Spoiler, yeah.
Did it go pretty well? I saw a couple people posting about going there, like Bill Mulligan. Apparently he worked on it, but he went to the screening and said it was awesome.
Bill Mulligan was there. He did some effects in it. He did some really cool effects. Dean Garris was there.
Nice.
So that was cool.
The fabulous actor, Dean Garris.
The fabulous actor and auteur, Dean Garris.
Triple threat, actually. Singer, dancer, playwright.
So some of our local actors, Willie Nelson, Preston Campbell, Miles Snow, Rebecca Larkin, were there because they were all in it. Tanner Liaska, of course, who was fantastic.
I actually ran into Tanner last week because at the Museum of History, which also seems to come up a lot because they're also very supportive of local film. They were doing the 72 hours of Shakespeare, whatever it was. They were performing all of Shakespeare's plays in a row, 24 hours a day. And I went to see The Tempest on Wednesday night, and Tanner was the stage manager.
Oh, nice.
So shout out to Tanner. I got to see him, chat with him a little bit. He seemed hopeful, and again, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but he seemed very happy with the way things were going, and they were hopeful maybe they get to do it again sometime. So I would look forward to that. But cool. Shout out to Tanner. Got to chat with him.
Hey, I just want to point out, I just got a message from the director of Where We're Meant to Be, Michael Howard, and he says, "Tell them how you abandoned the Eastern NC Fest, Dick." So I hate to say it, I could not make it to the Eastern NC Film Festival this past weekend. We were doing last minute edits and audio wrangling on the Doctor Who Ginger Chronicles. Right. And so I couldn't make it, Mike. I'm sorry, but congrats, because Where We're Meant to Be got Best Film at the festival.
Congratulations to Where We're Meant to Be.
Yeah. Oh,
great job, guys.
Now he's telling me to shut up. So,
Speaking of Michael Howard, I have a text message from him back when we were talking about, the fee for FilmSpark going up $5, and we were discussing things you could do with those $5. He made a suggestion of what Conrad will do to you for $5. We'll just leave that to people's imagination, because this is a family show. You should be ashamed, Michael. So where were we? The Doctor Who premiere you said went fantastic.
My hugs cost $5.
It's hugs. They're good hugs. A $5 hug is a good hug.
Yeah. When you get free hugs, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what were you just saying?
I was just saying the Doctor Who premiere went well.
It went well, yeah. I mean, it was a half-hour film. People seemed to like it. They laughed in all the places where we would hope people would laugh.
Cool.
Had a lot of it was good to see everyone's effort finally on screen.
Nice. And fingers crossed they might be able to make a third one if they can raise the money for it. I know that's down the road, but
the Indiegogo campaign is live right now.
Oh, it is?
They launched it late last night. So that is making the rounds right now.
Doctor Who. Indiegogo. There we go. Show notes. So what's next on the itinerary? We discussed FilmSpark. Hopefully people, we're going to start working on putting that together, and hopefully people can give us some feedback on that one. What are some other projects we're working on?
Well, one thing we definitely want to be doing is at some point soon, if we can just pull some funds together, man. And we need funds for this. Set List Season 2.
It's something we've been wanting to do for a while, because the first one was really good. I mean, that was a really great show, not just to work on, but I think the final product came out really good. And, not just did it get a great response from the audience, but the band seemed really happy with it. And even to this day, it's been, it's been like 6 months to a year since the last time we did a shoot, but you and I both still keep getting emails from bands who want to be on season 2 whenever that happens. So the demand seems to be there. The only thing is that season 1 is a big undertaking. There's a lot of crew, a lot going on. Got to provide food for these people and everything. There's 7, 8, 9 cameras going on.
Depending on that month. Yeah.
Right. But we were able to do it, almost more or less for free. We called it a lot of favors. There was a lot of deferred contracts and everything in order to get that first season done. But if we did a second season, I think we would want to try to actually raise funds for it, try to actually get people some money for their work.
We definitely got to raise money. Because those shoot days are really long. It's not like a lot of narrative films where you have hurry up and wait. On our shoot dates, it was just nonstop hustling all day.
Right. And everybody who helped out, our buddy Michael Howard was one of them. Tom Gore was one. Dean Garris was there once or twice. Who were some
Harris.
Jabari Harris. Karen
with him, yeah. Your face ends up in a lot of the episodes.
I was there. I'm like the star of the show.
Bill Elias helped us out a lot. Melissa Neely, Lori Guess. We had a few different people come in and be PAs over that time.
We had several different hosts who came in.
Yeah. We had Matt Dunn, Michelle Wells, Michelle Glass, Ben from Dapper Conspiracy hosted.
And, you can't forget Twin Maples, Robert Gordon, Tim Bell, and the illustrious Conrad Arnold throwing it all together. So, as you people can tell, it's a big freaking endeavor. We get there at noon, and it's 4 bands in a row. We were doing the interviews at the same time, and I think that's what was killing us, was having to have a band play, then go upstairs and set up for the interview. Because one, we often had to move the camera equipment. So equipment had to be moved upstairs to do these interviews. Then we were usually interviewing the band that was going to be playing next. So rather than them, we had to wait until the previous band was done playing, because otherwise there was too much background noise while we're doing the interviews.
We would interview during a band sound check. And probably like one of the most obvious examples of that is you go back and you watch the Laura Reed episode.
Mm-hmm.
Snake and the Plisskens are sound checking during that interview, and there was a huge difference between Snake and the Plisskens and Laura Reed.
Mm-hmm. And it
So
just completely jacks with the audio. So
yeah. So
and so then that band that we're interviewing, that whole time we're interviewing them, is time that they're not spending setting up to play their set. So it was just kind of all over the place. I think if we do season 2, we're going to do the interviews separately. We're just on the days of the concerts, we're just going to film concerts,
right,
and then we'll try to set up interviews on a separate day.
I think that would be the best.
Logistics problems, you don't, when you do it the first time, you're like, oh yeah, we're totally going to do this, it's going to work out great. And then when the second time comes around, you're like, we're not doing that shit again. Oh man.
But I mean for what we did last year, man, it was a lot. I mean, we did 21 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
21 bands. And the thing is like we actually shot 24 episodes worth of stuff. It's just we ran into problems with 3 episodes. 2 of our episodes we had a real bad technical day and all the audio was lost.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a freaking shame.
And we weren't able to get everyone back to retape. Absent Lovers came back and did it again the next month, which I was really thankful for because that band is awesome and they're playing soon. And then we had one band that I don't know, there was like a contractual thing they got a little freaked out about. And even though we shot them playing a show, they backed out. And it's just too bad because we couldn't show the episode since they never signed the contract, but they were freaking good, man.
It happens, that's but to still get 21 episodes for all that effort, and like I said, considering we didn't really have the funds for it, but we'd like to be able to do it again. It would just, we would definitely want to do right by everybody. Thank you all for helping out with season 1, which is kind of the proof of concept. We want to do it again, but we also want to make sure that everybody gets paid and show the appropriate amount of appreciation that they deserve for amazing work.
And since we're talking about settlers real quick, man, I just want to throw a couple of shout outs. One, Shiloh Hill, who's one of our highest watched episodes, just their Kickstarter for their new EP just succeeded today. They reached their funding goal. So congrats to Shiloh.
Awesome.
And even though it's a little old news because it was like about 2 weeks ago or so, but one of our episodes, the band Season and Snare, they won the Shorty Award for Periscoper of the Year.
Absolutely. Congratulations to them.
And it's well-deserved, man, because they were on top of that way back at the start, and they beat out a lot of people who are just huge on YouTube.
Not to jump around, but we were talking about the idea of focusing more on topics on local film talk. And one of the ones I wanted to do was the idea of like Periscope and stuff like that, some of these live streaming services. And I was thinking it might be cool to get Season and Snare on local film talk to talk about, their experience with Periscope.
Well, that'd be cool, especially now, man. Like, how has it changed since they started? I know they talk a little bit about it in the interview we did for them on that episode.
Yeah, they tell the story of how they blew up.
Yeah. So it'd be really cool to like reconnect and see how it's changed in the year since then.
Right. But back to the set list, definitely looking into ways to pull off season 2. And again, if anybody out there has any suggestions, what's the email address on that one? thesetlisttv@gmail.com.
That is it.
thesetlisttv@gmail.com. But we were talking about, maybe we could go out and find some sponsors. That would be nice if we could do that.
I would love it. Anything to make it where we can
I think that's what we would want to do first and figure out how much money we can get that way because we got the budget broken down. We know how much it costs to make an episode. So I think the first thing to do would be to go out and find sponsors, see how much money we can raise that way. And then whatever the difference is, then maybe we do Indiegogo or Kickstarter.
And of course, any like super wealthy local music lovers who just want to like shower up
Absolutely.
with money to make these shows, you know.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's we already did one season. We've figured out for the most part how to do. I mean, we had a pretty good setup going the first time. Just a
Mhm.
few changes we need to make this time, but we know how to do it. It's not all that speculative. It's just again raising the money so we can pay everybody what they're worth. But we definitely want to do it. It would be nice if we could get something out there by the end of the year. That may be a little too optimistic, but I would love it if we didn't have to skip a year. If season 1 was 2015 and we could have something for season 2 in 2016, even if it's like a short 8 to 12 episode season.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
So, but yeah, that's something we definitely want to work on out there.
Especially since we got this great awesome music scene here, and it does
Yet
change
21
quite
bands,
quickly.
possibly 24. We weren't even scratching the surface of the great bands in the area.
No, we weren't, and like I said, it changes quickly, man. Like I brought up Shiloh Hill,
Mm-hmm.
completely different lineup now. The color exchange, it
Mm-hmm.
the color exchange isn't even together anymore, which really sucks because they were so good. Uh, but now that performance is there.
Well, that's one of the
Anyone who,
things I loved about the idea of the set list is that you could have a band that a band that formed, didn't last long, and then broke up. Maybe you had some kind of super group where different people from separate bands got together and played a whole new style of music
that's right.
together.
Speaking of
Or
super
maybe you had
groups,
a band where
Lightning
some
Born.
people, huh?
Speaking of super groups, Lightning Born. Looking at you, man.
Mm.
That's Colossus, that's COC, that's the Hell No, our very first band, and that's
Yep.
Demon Eye all together. That is badass.
Right. And the ability to take these things that didn't last long, but to be able to preserve them and say, you guys remember when this happened? This was awesome, and we were able to save a little bit of it. It's a time capsule, really, people.
And, I mean, people don't realize it, but there is a rich history of very awesome music out of this area.
Hmm. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, season 2 of the set list, definitely on our radar. And we want to make it happen. So if anything, we'll keep you guys posted as we get more ideas and as we make progress on that, and hopefully that happens. um, and I guess one of the last things I wanted to talk about, I think this is the last thing on our list, was actually this show, Local Film Talk, and where the future of this show is. Sorry, folks, I ran out of water. Throat's getting a little scratchy.
You don't have your usual beer, man.
I don't have the beer.
I expect better from a home brewer.
Absolutely. I got one in the fridge. You want to vamp for a second while I get myself a drink? Get myself a
Yes,
tasty
yeah.
beverage?
I will keep the folks entertained.
There you go. All right, folks. Conrad is going to river dance for you for about 30 seconds.
So, guys, like, really, I'm pretty worried about Bob. Like, he's been drinking a lot these days, and I think he might have a problem. If you guys are into like helping local film talk and helping Bob, I think we need to stage an intervention. Um, it would just be an amazing thing if we could, because like he's really hurting bad, and God, I can't even keep that going. He's taking too long. Fuck. Hey Mike, I know you hit me up again. You're our one viewer, I'm sure. See, I'm not even trying to entertain anybody more. I just know it's Mike. Yeah, see, you're right, dude. You're right. It is a missed opportunity.
Oh my God, did you just sit there?
I was told that this was a great opportunity to just awkwardly stare at the screen for 60 seconds.
Say what?
No, this mic hit me up, man.
Oh my god! You didn't just sit here and stare at the screen for like a minute and a half, did you?
No, I really should have though. That would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Conrad dipping his toes in experimental film.
I'm just doing
watching Conrad, watching you. The finger of God. So, anyways, were you in the middle of something? Did I interrupt?
No.
Okay. I'll go back and watch it. I may have to cut that out.
It'd probably be for the best if you did, man.
Okay.
So future local film talk.
Absolutely. Cheers. So the thing about local film talk is we've been doing this for a long time. We're almost at 90 episodes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go back and check, but I think we're in the upper 80s. And anybody who's been watching since the beginning knows that there has definitely been an evolution of the show. When we started out doing it, it was actually in-person sit-down interviews that I was hosting by myself. We had a 3-camera setup, lights, lav mics and all that stuff and everything. Originally, they were long interviews like this. I'd take the whole interview, make it one episode. I realized I couldn't do that every week, so we started breaking them up into like 10-minute episodes. So one episode would drag out for a month and a half. Then I tried, using that same format, but mixing up a couple different interviews, so it wasn't the same person, week after week for a month. Thought maybe that would make it a little more interesting. And and then eventually, I didn't really like the way that we were getting bits and pieces of conversations. And right around that time, Google Hangouts and streaming technology like this was really coming into its own. So I started hitting people up and saying, hey, rather than having to get a whole crew together, find a location, and taking 3 hours out of your afternoon to come and do an interview, if you got a computer and a webcam, why don't you just take half hour, 45 minutes out of one evening and we'll do it over the internet? And it's been extremely convenient. We've been able to talk to people out of the area. Friggin' Andrew Huggins over in the Charlotte area. It would have been extremely difficult to try to set up an in-person interview somewhere here in Raleigh and get him to come in town and work out our schedules. But the fact that we could just hit him up like that was great. We did one, what was it, a month and a half ago, where we had Michael Howard and Michael Babbitt talking about the importance of production experience. I tried getting multiple guests together a few times in the past. And, again, no offense to anybody, but it can just be a huge hassle working around so many people's schedules. So doing it this way has, it's really been logistically nice. It's really made it possible to expand our guest list and everything, and to be able to do a full interview every week and get that out to everyone. And I hope they've been enjoying it. And then, of course, a couple months ago, I brought you on, as a co-host to add a little bit of
decision you ever made.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a comedy genius, such a chatterbox over here. It really added like 4 or 5 levels of dynamics to the show.
What I think adding me to the show really added was that every episode, people can see this small rectangle in the bottom right of the screen where I just kind of stare.
It's hypnotic, really. We need to make a drinking game out of it somehow.
Yeah.
Well, you actually did bring some really great things to the show. I used to try to I would do the interviews, and I had the opening title sequence and the credits, and I would try to figure out something to do before the opening titles. And usually if somebody was talking about a project, I'd just try to stick the trailer at the beginning or something. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, something I figured out from that is that a lot of people use copyrighted music in their trailers. And so I was putting up these episodes and they were getting flagged immediately. And I'm like, I didn't use any copyrighted music. And then I'd see it was the music from the trailer. So you actually had the idea of doing the opening segment or actually of doing the quick cold open at the beginning. that little 10-second intro,
Mm-hmm.
then doing the opening titles, and then having that kind of intro section where we talked about upcoming events and everything and introduced the guest. And that, I think, has actually been a huge boost to the format. So thank you for bringing that.
Yes.
He's speechless. Speechless. But the downside to doing it this way is the quality of the technical elements, audio and video. We're really at the mercy of people's internet connections, and also whatever equipment they happen to have on them.
And that's especially true now because about a month ago or so, Google changed the way Hangouts work. It used to be everything went to Google servers, and we were getting better quality, but then Google has now changed it to where Hangouts work on a peer-to-peer kind of connection. So we're getting a lot more incidents of video kind of like dropping out, or bad audio quality, bad video quality, and that's becoming a bit of a problem.
Right. And again, back to the convenience factor, I want to say specifically Will Stein, makeup artist up in Winston-Salem. Again, someone we would probably never be able to have on if he had to drive all the way down to Raleigh to do an interview. He has actually given us tours of his workshop, which is in the shed behind his house, by doing his interview using the Hangout app on his cell phone. So, I mean, it's been really handy like that. But again, at the same time, he's trying to connect to wireless on the other side of the property on his cell phone, so the connection's not always the greatest. Sometimes we have people, they have slower computers, or they don't have a microphone, so the audio is not that great. And, it would just be really nice if we could figure out a way to up the technical end of things. I would like it. One of these little things that bugs me and probably nobody else is it's kind of a pain in the butt when I'm going back and editing and trying to add in lower thirds for everybody right down there in the corner of the screen, because the way Google automatically cuts back and forth, if somebody shifts in their seat who's not talking, it suddenly cuts to them. And so it can be really hard to find a nice long shot where I can add somebody's lower third. And it would be really nice if I could just go ahead and have that loaded on like as part of the screen. So every time it cuts to somebody, their lower third is there. So I've been doing some experiments with a program called Open Broadcaster software. It's what a lot of Twitch streamers use. And it's basically like an open source TV station program. It doesn't take up a lot of resources, but it's got a lot of cool little features like that. Only problem is that I have to record, like, each person has to be in their own window, and I record that window as a separate camera, take camera 1, take camera 2, that kind of thing. So we probably wouldn't be able to use Google Hangouts. We'd have to start using Skype. So everybody had their own Skype window. Mm-hmm. The nice thing, one of the nice things, and one of the main reasons why I went with Google Hangouts in the beginning rather than Skype, is because Google Hangouts is dead simple. As long as you have a computer and a webcam, our guests know this, I send you a link, you click on it, and you sign in, and that's all there is to it. But with Skype, there's a little bit added level of tech savvy that you need. You got to hook it up to your phone number, you've got to find the other person's account, that kind of thing. And to be perfectly honest, not everybody out there in the filmmaking community is incredibly tech savvy. So the simpler we can make it for guests, the better.
I've sat in on a lot of production meetings over Skype where the first half hour is, are they here? I think they're connected. No, they're not connected. Oh, am I connected? Can you guys hear me? Can we hear you? Can you hear us? Can you see me? No, I don't see you. For 30 solid minutes, man.
Right. Which, I mean, do we want to have, basically what that would mean is that we would need to do like a 30-minute pre-show where it's you guys just, the episode starts at 8:00, but you can tune in at 7:30 and watch us try to figure out how Skype, works and why we're not hearing somebody's audio. And then hopefully by 8:00, we already got it figured out and we can start doing the interview.
Yeah.
So, it would be now another possibility, and this kind of goes, it's good in one way, bad in the other. We could, using open broadcasting software and a computer and a couple cameras, because like this is just a webcam, but it's a nice webcam. Logitech 920C does 1080p, 30 frames a second. Looks really nice and everything if your connection and your computer are fast enough. You can take a computer and hook up multiple cameras to it and actually have like your own little TV studio right there and do interviews in person. And then we can switch live using OBS and have the lower thirds and everything, and it will look as good as those in-person interviews used to, and probably even better because we'll have more of the technological stuff in it. We can have a little logo spinning in the corner and the lower thirds, and we can probably even like live. We could probably have clips loaded up. Like if we're talking to somebody about their film, we could tell them to bring 3 or 4 clips, and we can actually have that loaded into the system. So it's like, all right, click on that, and while they're talking, it cuts to the video of, the clip playing and everything. So it could be a much more professional looking show. Downside, in addition to somebody having to become an OBS expert, but, that's just something you do out of necessity. But the downside being is that will require going back to the in-person interviews, which again would become, might limit our ability to get some of these people who are located further away, or possibly getting multiple people on at once might become harder.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues we got to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea of kind of at least a hybrid where you and I are together in a studio at least, because sometimes I think the lag that we experience on this makes it where kind of like jumping in is harder.
Right. It's harder for you to jump in while I'm talking and that's another thing that I've noticed is that the way that Google Hangouts does things, I think they almost sort of mute everyone else's mic while one person is talking. So they have to recognize that there's audio coming in, and then they have to cut it in, and then they try to mute the other person's mic. So I notice a lot of times if 2 people start talking at once, it all sounds really garbled, and it starts cutting off parts of your sentences.
Well, they're doing that, I'm sure, to avoid feedback from people not wearing headphones.
Yeah,
like I'm not wearing headphones, and no problem here. But I know, like if everyone's mics were live while I'm talking, and it's coming through while the mic is listening to me, it's going to be feedback city.
Right.
No.
So, yeah, I agree. We might be able to, you and I might be able to have a little more chatty dynamic and, interrupt each other, and both of us be able to ask questions, one person not have to, feel like they can't talk or anything, if at least you and I were sitting there together.
Yeah. And hold hands and stuff,
Well, you could rub my leg under the table and, that kind of stuff. So, unfortunately, we're still talking about a guest having to, sign in, and, their video and audio quality might not be that great. I would love for them to be able to come in crisp and clear too. But again, I would rather talk to somebody in Wilmington that can't drive up here, right, and their connection be a little worse, rather than not get that interview at all.
That's why I'm saying a hybrid.
Right.
I mean, if we're in the same studio, it's a lot easier. You and I will be all right. We'll get our feeds, and then that minimizes how many connections we got to make.
That might help too. Yeah, if we've only got if we're on one camera and that's there's only one other connection coming in, that's a hell of a lot easier, because right now it's bare minimum 3. Today notwithstanding, it's bare minimum 3 people. You remember the one we did with the pallbearers guys?
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was like 4 of them.
Yeah.
So,
we had the composer, one of the actors, and then we had the director and the cinematographer together. So that was 3, and then you and me, and making it 5.
That's a lot of streams all flying around at once.
Yeah, it was.
But even if we did do that hybrid thing like you're talking about, if somebody was, maybe if somebody's in the area and they can come in and sit down in the studio and do it in person, and we're able to get nice audio and video, everything, we can do that. But in the case of somebody being out of town or not being able to make it, we still have that option available to do a Skype link up or a Google Hangout or something.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, I mean, it's always about, we've done this, we've gotten comfortable with it. I don't want to become complacent with it. I always want the show to be better. I always want to try to reach more people. It's not that I gauge the success of the show based on how many people watch it, but I know there could be more. And I always want to figure out what we can do to appeal to more people, to get the audience more excited about, what we're doing, and by proxy, what other people are doing. So that's, those are some thoughts. Those are some things we're tossing out. I'd like to, I would love to hear feedback. I know some of these, the chat rooms here. Oh my God. Todd Tinkham and Tom Gore just going back and forth on the Facebook post.
Are they now?
Yeah.
Haven't you been looking?
So that's great. We've kind of got our own little chat room going on here. It's awesome. But I will definitely go through and check these out and, see what you guys have to say. If you want to make a formal suggestion, localfilmtalk@gmail.com, give us some feedback, give us some suggestions, let us know what you would like to see. I mean, if there's something we do, whether it's, the way we're doing things or just technical or whatever that, drives you nuts. It's like, guys, if you could fix this, if you could fix these connection problems, if you could, whatever, just let us know and we'll see what we can do, because we always want to make the show better. So
this is the best discussion exchange we've had on the group in a while.
Tom, you guys, we have engaged the community. Cheers. Well, and this is by far the chattiest you've been. It probably helps that it's just you and me. So it's like I say something and you got to be the one to respond because there's not a third party. But I like actually getting conversational about it.
Thing.
Huh?
I don't have to do a damn thing.
It's in your contract, man. Don't, motherfucker. Don't you turn that webcam away from me. Do not do this. We're live. The audience demands their Conrad. I got such a diva here, folks.
I can't deny the audience.
Oh my God, such a diva. Well, I think that about does it. Yeah, we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes.
We don't know when to shut up.
So I think we got a pretty full episode. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on? The only other thing I had written down, and I won't get into it right now, I'll just mention what I have to, and maybe we can have a more full conversation about it in the future. We mentioned 2 of my Triangle Life TV shows, Local Film Talk and The Set List, and the future of those. Triangle Life TV, in and of itself, I'm going to go ahead and wind down. We've been doing it for about 2.5 years. I'll just say it didn't take off the way I had wanted. We were stretched really thin. A lot of people doing a lot of different things, trying to do more than, was feasible with the small group that we had. And, like I said, most of the stuff never caught on the way that we hoped. And at this point, it's just, a lot of the ideas are not going to catch hold the way that we wanted to. On the plus side, since we were doing so many things, we didn't just start the site. We also started 5 or 6 of our own shows. There were a lot of ideas going on. So even if some of them didn't work, some of them did. The Set List being one of them. And I would say at this point, Local Film Talk being one of them too. So while Triangle Life TV and some of the shows, Das Beer Show, probably the Yardcast, I think Triangle Food Addicts probably won't be continuing. I do, by not spending the time, by dropping the ideas that aren't working, I'm hoping that that'll give us more time to focus on the ones that are working. We can focus on the stuff that we were just talking about making local film talk better. You know, we'll have the time to focus on going out and finding the funds to really do season 2 of the set list professionally. So like I said, I'd really like to, because I want to be open. The whole point of this show is to try to talk to filmmakers and learn from their mistakes, learn from their successes, get feedback, and figure out how to help people with their own projects. And so I'm more than happy to answer any questions and have a frank discussion about what worked and what didn't work and what I got right and what I fucked up on Triangle Life TV to help other people, if they have a similar idea. It's just that we've gone for an hour and 15 minutes, and that's probably a whole discussion in and of itself. But we'll talk about that more in the future. But for the moment, I just wanted to let everybody know what the deal was with Triangle Life TV, and what you can expect moving forward, which is pretty much at the moment just the set list and local film talk. And we'll have to see what happens with the rest of it. So
I just got a message from Todd. A little shout out for him.
Todd Tinkham.
Todd Tinkham, the man, the legend. He asked me to talk about the School of Doc that the Full Frame is doing.
I just saw the post, so I don't know enough to say anything about it. Do you know more details?
I don't know very much, but I'm going to shout out what I can here. The website is fullframefest.org. The deadline for submission is May 9th, but it's a 5-week doc filmmaking course, it looks like, in June and July. Mm-hmm. It's open to public high school students in Durham, it looks like. And it's free. So that is cool. Pretty rocking, man. Oh, public or private schools, homeschool kids are available too, but Durham residents only. Okay. So May 9th.
So if you're a high school age kid in Durham, North Carolina, and are interested in learning about making documentaries, at this point you have 7 days to sign up. So we'll definitely try to share that on the local Film Talk Twitter page. Post about it on in the Triangle Film community and help get the word out. So not a lot of time from the time we're recording this, but hopefully we can get the word out to a couple more people who are interested in that. So thank you, Todd, for telling us about that. Happy to spread the word.
Definitely, because there's a lot of kids in the area. They're coming up in this wonderful age where, the technology just to make films is right there. Mm-hmm. I would have killed for this when I was a teenager. But,
if you go back and watch our when I went to the premiere of Son of Clowns and covered that 5-minute episode, I think we put it out 2 weeks ago. Shot that entirely on my iPhone.
Yeah, everyone's got a production studio in their pocket now.
Mm-hmm. And you can too. And if you sign up for this class, you can learn the the rules, the ins and outs. Well, not necessarily rules. There are no rules. The rules are made to be broken.
You can learn how to make a documentary.
Yes, absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you, Todd, for telling us about that. But we should shut our yaps now.
Yeah.
Because we have talked too much. In fact, I want to say that I had trouble uploading an episode of the show once to Squarespace to put it on the podcast because it was too long. I think there was a size limit, so I may have to downgrade the audio quality to get the file size small enough to get the podcast up. But
speaking of Squarespace, man, hey, where's our sponsorship? Squarespace, you're doing all these podcasts, you're doing all these other YouTube shows. Where's ours?
Yeah,
I mean,
we have a podcast. Isn't that enough?
Isn't that
all it takes to get a Squarespace sponsorship?
How many subscribers we have on the podcast?
And FreshBooks. What up?
Stamps.com, MailChimp, looking at you guys. Where's our
domain.com? Well, we're using Squarespace. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why domain.com hasn't hit us up.
Complimentary. Or MeUndies, maybe.
MeUndies.
Or the Casper mattress people, like, hey, we'll take your money too. Audible looking at
JustCoffee.coop. I will shit my pants.
He will. He has.
I will shit them.
You got to audition that, man.
There we go. So I guess that's it. I guess we're gonna wrap it unless you got anything else. Real quick. We haven't done it yet in all this talking. We have forgotten to thank our lovely sponsors, Nick Beery, who directed My Dumb Face, and Michael Howard, there we go, who directed Where We're Meant to Be. Both of them are sponsors of the show by virtue of the fact that they sent us an 11 by 17 poster for their films so that we could hang them in these frames in the background. And if you would like to be a sponsor of our show, all you have to do is send us an 11 by 17 poster of your project, and it'll be on the wall behind me, and we'll share it. Go to the show notes, and there should be an address for you to send that to.
Yes.
But that is it. This has been a very long episode of Local Film Talk. As we said, this is how the sausage gets made. This is us thinking out loud, brainstorming ideas for the future. Hope you found it informative. Hope you got some ideas of your own, maybe some you can share with us to help us figure out how to get these things moving forward. But that was cool. We'll have to do that again sometime. Maybe at the end of the summer, like an update on how some of these things have panned out.
And the summer SparkCon will be coming, so yeah.
There we go. There will be lots of Film Spark stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that, folks. But anyways, this has been an episode of Local Film Talk. Thank you to everybody who watched. We had a very active audience this episode. Lots of people messaging us, posting in the Facebook group. I'm seeing the view numbers go up and down. I think we had a pretty active audience this time, and that's a really great feeling. Well, we got to figure out how to do that more in the future.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you, Conrad. Thank you for doing this one with me. I know it's a little weird and a little nerve-wracking to not have a subject, to just kind of be talking about our own stuff, but I think it went well. So thanks for this.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
From right here. Right there. You got the feel? He has the feels, folks.
Dusty in this room.
It's a little dusty in the room. Conrad has the feels. I have the feels. This has been Local Film Talk. Everybody have a great night.